Gary, you got any news for us this evening?
Let's run down the list here. News outlets in the Philippines have reported on a video of a mysterious UFO sighting over the ocean, sparking confusion from skeptics and frenzy from UFO enthusiasts. This comes days after several reported eyewitness accounts of UFOs over that country's mainland. The object in question appears to be very large and very bright, leaving many observers baffled as to what it might be. On the conspiracy front, following YouTube's decision a few weeks ago to stop promoting and recommending conspiracy content, quote-unquote, YouTube has now announced it is ending monetization on anti-vaccine videos. These videos will still be on YouTube, but will not have ads, so content creators will not be able to make money off of them. A 12-year-old boy, Jackson Oswalt of Memphis, has become the youngest person to achieve nuclear fusion at home, building an amateur reactor in an old bedroom. Look on Chauncey's face is priceless. This reactor cost $10,000 to build. Money for the project came from his parents. Although nuclear fusion is not yet viable for economical energy production, the ability to create small-scale fusion at home has existed for many years. Oswalt is simply the youngest builder of this technology so far. Oswalt is now 14, as it took 2 years for his accomplishments to be officially confirmed and recognized by the Open Source Fusor Research Consortium, which handles things of that nature. And finally, in apocalypse news, it rained live fish in Malta after a devastating storm struck the island. One observer was quoted as saying, "One of the fish farms must have broke open, and there's hundreds and hundreds of fish that have blown ashore, and these people are here picking up the fish from the middle of the street." The storm was not quite powerful enough to be classified as a hurricane, although its strength was still noticeable as the Mediterranean Sea does not actually have hurricanes, only rare hurricane-like tropical storms called medicanes. The Mediterranean is expected to experience full-fledged hurricanes by the end of the century due to climate change. Now, back to you, Chauncey.
All right, man. Can you imagine what those streets smell like?
Oh, God.
Yeah, because at first I'm just all, are they picking them up and eating them? And then I'm all, no, man, they're picking them up to get
to dispose of them, yeah.
Stank out of there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Malta is an island, so I imagine it, smells like the sea under normal circumstances, but probably not like, rotting fish.
Yeah. I think about that a lot when it comes to like tsunamis. I know it's a terrible thing to think about. Once I know everybody's okay and we're past the catastrophe, I think
or that the people who aren't okay aren't really going to complain anymore.
That's terrible, but, I think about, like, what it must smell like what was dredged up.
When was the last time someone was okay in a tsunami? Tsunamis are ridiculous disasters.
Well, people survive.
People survive. Lots of people don't survive. Okay, go on. Sorry,
We're supposed to be, like, feel good and, like, helping people here with our positive attitudes in their time of crisis. Not just being terrible, terrible human beings.
Oh. Well, I don't know why I'm on the show. I don't know why you were on the show, more importantly.
I'm trying. I'm getting softer as I get older. But,
clearly.
So, what it must smell like. A town blanketed in dead fish. That must just absolutely suck. And is that something the town pays for to clean up, that the state pays for? Do people, like, come through?
I don't know. Insurance is probably like, we don't cover fish.
Yeah, we don't cover...
in the policy, no fish, no bees.
Right, no acts of God.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And then, you're right, I did have an absolutely terrified look on my face for this kid that...
is building fusion reactors.
Is building a fusion reactor. Okay, so I got this buddy Lou, and he was like, he's like all about, like, renewable energy and figuring out how to do it.
Sure.
He's interesting because he's actually quite conservative.
Yeah,
he's just super techie. Yeah. He's just super techie. So what he did is he took his car and he took a Tesla coil and he basically generated hydrogen from water in his car that he would pump into his fuel line and be able to adjust the amount of hydrogen going in.
Okay.
And so
like a makeshift hydrogen fuel cell car.
Right, yeah. Huh. And he's like, at the time I smoked cigarettes, and like he showed it to me, and he's just, oh yeah, man, it works. And I'm all, is this thing safe? And he's all, well, it's not nuclear. And I'm all, I know that, but it's hydrogen, you know. And he's all, yeah, it's safe. And I like lean in to look while I'm smoking. He's all, oh, don't smoke by it. And I'm just like, oh God, that's not safe. You know, that's not
so
safe
you almost died in a huge fireball.
Right. So this thing that this kid made, is there any chance of it like exploding? And do you know? Or?
Unfortunately, no. Nuclear fusion doesn't do that. So with fission in like a nuclear bomb, which is what people generally think of, you have fissile massive material. You have enough of the nuclear material that if, you know, one atom splits, then it causes a chain reaction throughout the mass that causes, you know, a portion of the whole thing to be converted directly into energy, and boom.
Right.
In a nuclear power plant, you don't necessarily have that mass. Not at least. It's not weapons-grade material, and it's not designed to explode, so it doesn't. The worst it does is just emit radiation if it melts down or something.
Right, so are there any, like, legal concerns with this kid doing this in his neighborhood?
Well, and fusion doesn't do that at all.
Oh, okay.
Fusion doesn't involve radioactive materials in the first place.
Okay.
So, which is, I mean, presumably this guy didn't, you know, pull Back to the Future and buy some plutonium from some sketchy Iranian arm dealers or whatever it is. It's a while since I saw that movie.
Yeah, I forget who they were.
But I wanted to report on it just, you know, so like 10, 15 years from now when Captain Fusion is terrorizing the East Coast and no one can stop him and his identity is uncertain. Like,
we'll know it's this kid.
We'll know it's this kid. Right.
Exactly.
Like, clearly.
All right. And what was the first one on your list?
It was a UFO sighting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just another UFO sighting. Yeah. I have to report on them, you know.
Must be fake.
Keep ahead of them. Well, this one was actually kind of interesting.
I'm just saying they happen all the time. I mean, how likely is it that they're all fake?
That's a good point, and that's kind of my feelings about UFOs. On one hand, it's like, what would the aliens be doing here, and how did they get here? And they've been here for decades. What are they even doing? On the other hand, there are just so many sightings. It's like they can't all be fake. So this was an odd one. All right. Well, our guest tonight is Michael Feely, and he's going to be talking about Nibiru. Ah, good. And this is a big topic for a lot of people, a lot of believers out there. Not only are there a lot of believers out there, but there are a lot of people who are really kind of concerned with their well-being over what might happen if another planet comes in. I can't say that I have a huge amount of concern, but I do find it incredibly interesting. Yeah. Well, you know, I think there's a grain of truth to everything, so. Yeah. Well, yeah, but those grains in space, you know. Yeah, well, they become planets. They'll screw up your spacecraft, yeah. No, they become planets eventually. Oh, okay. All right, you're listening to Radio Wasteland. When we come back, we have our guest, Michael Feely.